Welcome to another 1/2 hour of Words Make People. A word is anything that brings a message to your mind. Please call a friend, a neighbor, a relative, a cousin, co-worker. We have a very special show today. Our mayor, the mayor of the city of Albany, is here with us today, and we believe that this is going to be an excellent program because she's going to be sharing with us the most serious, difficult job that she has to satisfy individuals in our community to make sure that there's a clear-cut, balanced understanding of the responsibility of what a mayor has to do. Mayor Sheehan, thank you, and welcome for coming on today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And so we would hope that you understand that this program is about words make people, and as I was sharing with the mayor, we have many concepts of words that define themselves. And the word learn is the word earn. And the word earn is the word ear. You have to give an ear in order to earn how to learn. In the word mother, and she's a mother, is the word other. In the word other is the word the. In the word the is the word he. In the word other is the word her. We're not just taking words out and making words. These are words that define themselves. And we know that the greatest weapon that mother has is a two-edged sword. That tongue looks like a two-edged sword. And what word is in the word sword? Word. Mothers will get the last word. Us fathers, and husbands, children know that. They'll talk underneath their breath, walk into their room, and they know they have to do something, but mother will get the last word. And that's why we have to have a mother in the White House and in the Senate and in the Congress and all aspects of life, because us men have done a real not too good of a job in making sure that our democracies stay sane and balanced and practical. So it's not for me here today, but we want to ask the mayor and ask her about this tremendous responsibility that she has as a mayor. I remember when Brother Yusuf was here, and may God bless him to paradise, and we had the first fundraiser or the first initiative for electing our mayor here. And so he's no longer with us. And then also, but he's with us in spirit. And the same is Vera. Vera, Mikey, for those of you that know her. And we ask God to bless her and forgive her sins and bless her into paradise as well, too. She was a fighter. She was always there. She was always in the spirit of wanting to help whenever she saw wrong. Similarly, as we see in our mayor as well, too. And so you can always call us, 518-779-5893, to always ask us questions about what you think is important for us to speak about on our program. So, Mayor, what has been one of the major tasks that you've had that's tremendous, that's still with you, that you know you're looking forward to accomplishing?
Well, I think that the why I wanted to become mayor in the first place was that, you look around the city of Albany, and it's a place that people dearly love.
Yes.
And it is a place that people, when they look at their neighborhood and when they look at, what this city has to offer, they know that it has incredible potential.
Yes.
But we also know that we have challenges, and those are challenges that were decades in the making. Looking at the disinvestment that happened in many neighborhoods, the redlining, racism, all of these things that contributed to a breakdown in many of our neighborhoods.
Yes.
And the lack of investment or the not adequate investment on the part of the city in our infrastructure.
Okay.
And, as I look around the city, I see in every neighborhood that potential to be a neighborhood of opportunity.
Yes, I
Every
concur.
neighborhood in this city should be a neighborhood where people feel safe, where people have housing that they can afford, where people have access to a job,
Yes.
and to a great education for their kids. And that's what drives me. And I
Great.
know that we have a long way to go
Sure.
before we accomplish that.
Sure.
But in looking at what we can do, as a city, looking at how we've invested in our infrastructure and doing that in a more equitable way.
Yes.
Looking at what we're doing with, for example, new streetlights. People read in the paper, we're investing lots of money, over $20 million in buying our streetlights and converting them to LED lights, which are brighter,
Yes.
more environmentally friendly, and safer.
Okay.
And my commitment is we start that conversion in West Hill. We start it in the neighborhoods where we see that the lack of investment has resulted in challenges.
Yes.
And in talking to the council about that initiative, I framed it as an equity initiative.
Okay.
Because I said, you know, some of us have the luxury of living in neighborhoods where if a street light goes out, it's an inconvenience. Others of us live in neighborhoods where if a street light goes out, it means you could become the victim of a crime.
Yes.
And so those are the things that when I think about Brother Yusuf and when I think about Vera, who was both dear, dear friends of mine, that's what they fought for.
Sure.
And that was the truth to power that they always spoke. How are you looking at how you're investing your resources? How are you looking at how you're doing outreach?
Yes.
How are you even figuring out what it is that you need to do?
Yes.
Who are you
absolutely.
talking to and who are you listening to?
Yeah, well, that's the vision and that's the purpose, and I think, as you stated, it's going to take decades to come because who would ever thought my hometown is the hometown since the 1960s that's been totally refurbished. There's no other city in America that's been totally refurbished but my hometown, Harlem. Why? Because Harlem is in the capital of the world, and everyone in the world wants to come to Manhattan. And I would think that the reflection of the capital of the world should be the same for the capital of the world.
That's right.
Right here in Albany. And I believe that we're heading in the right direction by all the things we're seeing with the construction and things that's happening. And there's opportunity for those that can take advantage of it. And so if they don't think so, they should call 518-779-5893 so we can help and assist you because we're primarily a reference source of organization, a 501c3 that can help you get to really where you want to go. And I really appreciate you letting us know that it's going to take decades. It's not going to happen overnight.
But,
Many
you
people
know,
think that Obama was going to get into office and things were going to happen overnight. It doesn't
Right.
work like that.
But you know the opportunities are there. I mean, you know, you drive down Clinton Avenue and you see construction everywhere.
Yes.
And that construction is building affordable housing. That construction is focused on really reinvesting in the neighborhood, and we're going to come alongside that, and we're going to invest in the streetscape, and we're going to invest in ensuring that you know, the sidewalks and trees and lighting and all of those things that make a neighborhood are there.
Sure.
And the opportunity right now for anyone interested in finding a career path for themselves, I can't remember a time that it's been greater.
Excellent.
And we have tremendous resources that are available. We've given out $140,000 in scholarships just over the last year.
Wow.
To individuals to help them get certifications, to help them get on a glide
That's
path.
good news to
One-
know.
One good example, a gentleman who was working a $30,000 a year job came to us, we paid for a scholarship, he got a certification, he's now making $60,000 a year.
Excellent. See, this is the kind of things we don't know that we need to hear.
It's finding, we have found jobs for 50 people just over the last year as part of our anti-poverty reduction efforts. We're now working with Albany Med and St. Peter's Hospital because it's not just about finding that job. It's about how do you remain employed?
Yes.
How do we put services around an individual who may have issues with childcare,
Sure.
who may have issues with transportation, who may have issues with a sick or aging parent.
Yes.
You know, one of the barriers and challenges for many women to remaining employed is domestic violence. You know, most HR departments aren't set up to deal with those types of challenges.
Sure.
So we are funding some wraparound services, partnering with Albany Med and St. Peter's to ensure that we have navigators who can step in when there's an issue, when there's a challenge, to deal with that. So a person doesn't feel like they have to leave their job. They don't lose their job, and they have the supports that they need, not only to be able to keep that job, but to potentially be able to then invest in the training that they need to get to the next level and the next level
Sure.
and the next level.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because there was Pastor David that initiated the Second Alert program where all the officials and law enforcement came together at the Ramada Inn Hotel. And so one of the presenters stated that it's really unhealthy and unfortunate that we don't have the resources for mental health to a large degree. Because if we don't have the resources for them, then that compounds the responsibility for law enforcement on the streets.
Well, and one of the great things that we're going to see this summer is that the initiative that we have here, it was called SNUG, it's now called Cure Violence.
Violence, yes.
That the governor has directed additional resources towards that effort. We're not
Great.
the only city in the state. There are a number of cities in the state that have a Cure Violence initiative, and that funding is going to pay for a social worker and a caseworker.
Excellent.
Because I agree, we have people in pain. We have people who've been
Serious pain.
subjected to trauma. And there's a lot of anger that we know is associated with that.
Sure.
And when you don't see another way out, and the examples that you see are examples that aren't healthy.
Yes.
That may involve violence, that may involve crime, that may involve using drugs.
Sure.
Then we can't expect people to change what they don't know.
Yes.
And so that outreach, that willingness to just see a person for who they are, and see that they're struggling, and demonstrate and tell them that there is another way out,
Yes.
is really important.
Yes.
There is so much opportunity out there, and that's what I tell our young people all the time. Employers can't find people to fill jobs. There aren't going to be mechanics left to fix the buses at CDTA.
Yes.
If our young people don't get out there and realize, stay in high school, go and get a certification.
Sure.
And there is tremendous opportunities. Bus mechanics can make up to $70,000 a year,
Yeah.
even
Well,
more.
I'm very glad to
so
hear
these
that.
are real opportunities,
Sure.
and they are within reach. So when people say, oh, you talk about STEM, not everybody's going to go to college. Well, I'll tell you one thing everybody needs to be able to do, right? They need to know some basic math,
Yes.
and they need to have a firm grasp of the English language.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
if you focus on those things, and you think about if you want to become an electrician, if you want to become a carpenter, you need to know fractions,
Sure.
and you need to know a little geometry.
That's right.
And if,
Some measurements.
And if we can get kids to focus on that why,
Yes.
Why am I sitting in this geometry class? Because that means opportunity,
Yes.
right? You want to be a master carpenter? Pay attention. You want to own your own business.
Yes.
This is a great path. Many of these trades are great paths to owning your own business.
Well, we
and
really
we've got to
appreciate
build
that.
that hope in our young people.
That's right, and we're helping doing that with Universal Concepts because for the last couple of years we've been able, under the leadership of the Commissioner Jonathan Jones, with his director Paul Collins Hackett, to be a part of the 6-week program that they have from 14-year-old
Right.
students until 18. And this past year, you went from 900 students to almost 1,200 students. And we were able, through our organization, to speak to 900 students at the colleges. It was at St. Rose, it was at the library here where we are now in the studio, and the other various UAlbany, to speak with them on Fridays with a group session for 45 minutes and sharing information with them of how to take advantage of those opportunities.
And that's really what we want that summer youth employment program to be. We're nationally recognized because we make that investment. This isn't just about going to work and getting a paycheck. It's about seeing yourself on a career path.
Yes.
And I think that is the hardest thing. There's a wonderful book called The Other Wes Moore, and I
Okay.
don't know if you're familiar with it, but there's a gentleman named Wes Moore, Rhodes Scholar, decorated veteran, incredibly successful
Okay.
man. He was watching the news one night, and there was another individual with his name who was going to prison for murder.
Wow.
And he was curious because Wes Moore is an unusual name.
Sure.
And he learned that the two of them had grown up near each other in Baltimore.
Wow.
And so he became very intrigued by this young man. And he went to prison and he met with him. And he developed a relationship with him. And he wrote this book. And really at the crux of the book is that you have to see yourself
Yes.
as being something else.
That's
It
right.
almost doesn't matter what you want to be. But I've had the opportunity to speak with Wes Moore, and he said, what troubles me is when I say to a young person, what do you want to be? And they say, I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? because it almost doesn't matter. I joke with kids, I used to want to be a truck driver, believe it or not.
Really?
Right? I remember as a child
Over the road.
watching a truck driver drive, he's in that big truck, and he was singing along to the radio. And I thought, I was one of 6 kids, and I thought, that would be a great job. I get to listen to the radio station I want to listen to. I don't have to share space with my brothers and sisters.
You're singing as you're going
Right?
on the road, huh?
Right? But it almost doesn't matter because it is going to change over time.
Sure, that's
but it's
right.
having a goal.
Yeah.
And then thinking about, well, if I want to be a veterinarian or a lawyer or a carpenter or a plumber, what do I need to know now?
Right.
And that's our opportunity with our summer youth employees.
Yes.
To be able to say, well, what you need to know now is some geometry. What you need to know now is, you're going to have to read all kinds of manuals
Sure.
to learn how to fix things.
Absolutely.
Whatever that, because then that keeps them engaged. And as boring as that geometry class may get, and believe me, I was not a big
I
geometry
understand.
fan,
Sure.
it helps to propel you forward because you're thinking about yourself and you're seeing a
Yes.
future for yourself.
Well, this is what we share with the young people, is that you have to first ascertain, what is your passion? What is it you love to do, you do forever? And be careful of being involved in the number one crime. The number one crime is self-abuse. How do you use yourself, or how do you allow yourself to be used? Because there's something within you that's going to tell you when someone lies to you or tell you to go steal or do the wrong thing. And that's your gut. And your gut is telling you, don't go there. If you spell gut backwards, it's tug, T-U-G. If you tug with your gut, you deserve the consequences for that moment's pleasure, for a possible lifetime of misery. And we want to share with our young people that you're here to learn knowledge. And the word knowledge is the word know. And the word know is the word now. Spell now backwards, it's one. You want to win. You want to win now. You want to at least feel like you won. You want to feel like you want to be on that ledge. And the word ledge is the word edge. In order to have an edge, to be on that ledge, to know now, to feel like you won, you must accept the word O-N spelled backwards in the word one. Mothers say it's no, it's no. Law enforcement say it's no, you go and it's no. You have to really understand and realize that if you don't have a real understanding of the word knowledge and understand the most significant word in the word knowledge, and that word is in the sense of the word knowledge, and that's O-W-L. That's the kind of knowledge you want. You just don't want NFL, NBA, rap, and Hollywood. You want circumspect knowledge. And as you just mentioned, you have to get some of that geometry. You have to get some of that algebra. You have to get some of the things that you may not like. Because when a person goes to college, they have to take 2 years of things that they may not want to take before you declare your major. So we're giving them insight, and many of them understand that they have to be careful of that moment's pleasure for a possible lifetime of misery. And when they realize that, we share with them what are some of the specific things that you can get involved in if you don't be careful. Because the statistics from colleges states that most women that are molested in college are freshmen. So you have to go there with a different understanding. You can't go there, you're lollygagging and thinking that you're away from home and you can drink and do all the things you want to do. No, you have to be very, very careful. And so we like to we share this information with them to help prepare them, because you're absolutely right. Many of them don't have a perspective of having the right recruiter or the right person that can help them advance while they're in high school. And many of them don't understand that college starts at 9th grade. It doesn't start at 12th grade.
Right.
It starts at 9th grade. And so this way they can be better prepared. What has been some of the major struggles that you have as mayor since you've been in this second term, Mayor Sheehan?
Well, we can always do more with
Of
respect
course.
to outreach. And, the violence that we experienced last summer was, it was tragic.
Sure.
Because with every act of violence, you have a mother, a father, an aunt,
Sure.
a sibling,
That's right.
whose life
A family
will
member, yes.
never, ever be the same. And, but I will say, out of that came a tremendous amount of community engagement and a tremendous amount of, I think, community empowerment. Because government can't do everything, and it shouldn't do everything.
But
right?
there are those that believe
And-
government is there for that purpose, to do everything.
But, I think that the real power, right, comes from the community. And the community saying, these are the norms that we are going to accept.
Yes.
These are the hard conversations that we're going to have about what might be happening
Yes.
in our community with our kids. We have a role to play.
Yes.
And we should be accountable to our residents but it needs to be empowered by, or it won't be legitimate, by the community.
Yes.
We could create all the programs in the world.
Yes.
If they're not the programs the community wants, what have we accomplished?
And you're
And
very much
so-
correct. Very much correct, because in the word community is the word community, unity. If you want unity, everyone involved in the community has to knit it. The way grandma used to knit a quilt or whatever, everyone has a role to play in it, and not expect for just mother or daddy or uncle or the government or this person or that person, social worker, to be the all conduit. No. Everyone has a role in making sure that they have their participation in making sure we get what we want for the community. And so that share has to be there. You're very much correct.
And that really kind of comes back to what you talked about when we started, and you were talking about the need for women in leadership roles. And I think of it not as one or the other. It's that we need to be there together, because as Nelson Mandela said, right, he wanted the benefit of many points of view.
Yes.
That diversity is incredibly important. It's important to listen to the voices like we did as we decided how we were going to do our anti-poverty initiative. The governor gave us $1.5 million to spend. We brought people from the community together, including people living in poverty.
Yes,
so
that's
that we
right.
could learn what are the barriers.
That's right. What are the
What are
needs?
the
That's
struggles?
right.
What are the needs? It's not for us to sit in a room and decide what those challenges are.
That's right.
Have those if-only conversations, right? That with ourselves.
Yes.
Those need to be the many voices at the table.
Absolutely.
And so women's voices need to be at the table. People living in poverty need to be at the table. Men need to be at the table.
Sure.
People of every ethnicity. We need to have the community
That's right.
at the table.
Yes.
And so it's a challenge, but it's one that I love what happens when we bring the community together, because I always learn something. I always learn something new. And I
Excellent.
always, one of my favorite sayings is, I reserve the right to get smarter.
Yes.
I sit in this role
Absolutely.
as mayor, and I know that the community expects me to have a certain level of knowledge and leadership and
Sure.
bring those things to the table, and I do.
Yeah, and it doesn't
But
necessarily come from anywhere.
But I
You
do
have to be
reserve the
involved.
right to get smarter.
That's right.
And so when the community or somebody brings a different perspective, I have to be open to saying, okay, well, I thought we were going to be on this path, but we're actually going to widen the path a little bit.
yes.
Because I now have new information, a new perspective, a new idea about how we can accomplish what it is that we want to accomplish.
Excellent. Our program, we're having our 31st anniversary, and it's a panel of young people.
Oh,
and
great.
the young people are going to be speaking to the audience and sharing their vision and their goals and how they see things. So we need to hear from them, because many times we don't hear from our young people, and similar to last year. And it's going to be at Lavelle's at 69 North Pearl Street.
Okay.
Next Saturday from 4 to 7. And please, if you can't make it, I know it's a short notice, but if you have a representative that can come and hear, because it's important to hear from our young people at many times. And we're bringing in an array of young people that's going to be sharing information of how they see things and what they believe should happen. Not that it's going to happen, but as you just stated, that perspective, that diversity, coming from all walks of life and all people, and so our young people has a great respect from me as well as others, because I believe, and I may be wrong, that it's going to be the me movement and the young people's movement that's going to get our country back where it belongs. I know the men
Amen.
need to be there as well too, but right now, our young people and women, be assured, mothers and our young people, I feel comfortable. I can pass away today, and I'll feel comfortable knowing that our future is preserved because of those two movements that's going to be taking place, and that's been taking place. And so I'm really excited about that. We have about 5 minutes left, man. Just get the signal, and so
Okay.
we want you to please share with our audience what would you like to, how you see things, and how would you think is a priority, and what you anticipate and like to hear from our community, and how support you would get.
Well, I think it's really important that people hear that we do want to ensure that every neighborhood is a neighborhood of choice, that every neighborhood is a place that is safe. And so if there are things that are happening within a neighborhood, whether it's a pothole, a broken street light,
Sure.
you know, a dead tree. You know, don't assume that we know.
Yes,
Please.
that's right.
Please call us. We have a great app, by the way, for everybody who uses smartphones. It's called C-Click Fix.
C-Click Fix?
C-Click Fix, you can download it.
Okay.
It'll say Albany works for you. And you literally, it geolocates, so you can take a picture of a overloaded trash can,
Wow.
a broken,
Okay.
you know, a broken sign.
That's smart.
Take a picture of it, and you send it to us, and we will email back to you and let you know when we've taken care of it.
Wow.
We want to be as responsive as we can.
C-Click
and you can
Fix.
also C-Click Fix, or you can call 434-CITY if
Okay.
you know if you don't want to.
434, okay, good.
But we want to know. We also are, you know, have a number of initiatives around job readiness and around getting people jobs.
Yes.
So please do not hesitate to reach out on that. We can connect people to resources. And then the other thing is, you know, summer is coming. We should have a fun summer.
Yes.
We you know, we need to.
We make the attempt every time, and I
Right.
understand Lincoln Park is doing some
Yep.
new initiatives with that as well.
We've got
to
a
have
master
that.
plan, and Lincoln Park Pool will be open. I don't know why that rumor keeps percolating
I'm
up.
glad you said it here on this
Lincoln
station
Park
here.
Pool will be open this summer.
Great, okay.
So, you know, we want people to have a good time. So we have, you know, we've been investing in our parks.
Yes.
We've been investing, we have the Skyway project,
Okay.
which is going to take an exit ramp in Arbor Hill,
Okay.
connect it to the city, create a park, create entrepreneurial opportunities.
Great.
So there will be opportunities if you want to start your own business, but you don't have the capital to start a restaurant, you don't have the capital to go into retail space.
Great.
We want this to be the space for the community.
Sure.
To start their new businesses,
And
to
if they need
have
and if
vendors.
they need help with that
and-
new business, they can go to the Community Loan Fund, where they
Absolutely.
have Mr. Stewart and Jahan and others there
Right.
working to assist you from A to Z to make that happen. We got about 2 minutes left, Mayor. Please,
Okay.
whatever words you want to share with our audience. She's given us quite a bit of information that I'm going to be repeating, especially about taking that picture for you seeing things that's happening and work and things of this nature. Please, Mayor.
Yeah, and you know, go to our website, albanyny.gov. If you want more information, there's a place on the website where you can give us your email address.
Okay.
I issue a newsletter, our departments issue things. The rec department has online now registration, so if you
Great.
go onto the website, you can register your kids, get your kids involved.
Yes.
We have so many camps, sports opportunities, learning opportunities.
Yes.
Right now is registration for the Summer Youth Employment Program.
That's right.
Make sure you get your
Paul
kids
sent
signed
that out.
up.
I got it. And we're going to be having Paul come on the show to speak about that as well, too.
Right.
Yeah?
So, you know, we want people to know there are things for kids to do.
Of course.
There are things happening within our community. So get yourself informed, and if you see gaps and if you have a great idea,
Yes.
call us and let us know.
Excellent. Well, you heard it here today, and hopefully we're going to invite our mayor back on occasion when she would like to come and share thoughts with us and to enhance on other things. We can't get it all done in 1/2 hour, and so we only have a minute left, and we really appreciate you tuning in today and you being able to understand that it's going to take a community. And the community, come unity. In order for us to have the right unity in our community, as the mayor stated, everyone has to be involved and everyone has to give their input. And whether you think they're going to be heard or not, you never know. All I'm saying is have to be heard and be able to share that information with others as well too. Mayor, please, thank you for being with us today. We really thank the information you've given out to us, and we hope you will come back again as well.
Happy to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You're welcome.